Track Wrestling here with Mike DeRoehn of Wisconsin-Platteville. We are at the Charlotte Airport. We're getting ready to leave for Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We just got done with the Division III NCAA Championships. Only 18 qualifiers per weight class. Is that enough for Division III?
I think it depends how you look at it. I think it could be enough. I mean, of course, we'd always like to have a few more. I think, going to this regional model a few years ago and then seeing the realignment has been, steps in the right direction. I think, in my opinion, in a perfect world, if we could get maybe another 20 to 40 qualifiers, we can get more of the right wrestlers, the kids who deserve to be there based on their body of work over the course of the season. But at the same time, I think if we don't get more qualifiers, we should really look at what Division I is doing in terms of allocations based on your region and your body of work over the course of the season. I think that just makes a lot of sense, where the champion at each weight class is definitely going to go. But I think if you look at especially now, hindsight's always 20/20, but when you look at the number of All-Americans, say from the upper Midwest region where we compete, I believe we had 18 out of 30 All-Americans. Lower Midwest region, I want to say was 16 or 17. The Mideast region was 18 as well. And then you've got some other regions where it's dipping off, where it's as low as maybe 4 out of those 30. And I think that there's a lot of great wrestlers that get left home, and we do have a great championship event, but I think we have an opportunity to just put the icing on the cake and make sure we're getting the best wrestlers in the tournament, and also having some outstanding regional representation, especially with the amount of parity in Division III wrestling right now.
You brought one wrestler to the national championships. Does it feel like a team when you do that?
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Of course, it hurts as those words are coming out of my mouth, but I know I can only speak for me and my team. I know that our kids are working hard, and it's like we're back to the drawing board. But I feel like, to just being honest, the frustrating part is I know that my team and my coaching staff, myself, we're putting our heart and our minds into it. We're turning over every rock. We're finding resources. We're as much as we can, and the bottom line is that the competition doesn't care. They'll beat you anyway, and so we've just got to keep working on getting better, and hopefully when we get to, say, at Cedar Rapids next year, we can have a big squad with us, and it will feel like a team.
You've dabbled with some cumulative scoring for dual meets. Explain what you've done.
Yeah, that's interesting that you bring that up, because I've heard that on your podcast, and going back now, I want to say it was 15 years ago at a team camp. Some of the coaches and I, we were sitting around at lunch, just trying to take a fresh look at things, and we did what we called it rally scoring, and it was really just what's being looked at right now in terms of if you score a point in the match, then it goes up on the board for your team. And I can tell you that, man, that it stuck with me for all these years, because kids were wrestling to continue to score. They weren't content to get a lead and hang on. There was more action regardless of the score, because they knew that they were continuing to wrestle in the best interest of the success of their team. At the same time, I remember a kid that was really outmatched by an opponent he had at this team camp, but yet he fought the whole match and he got an escape, and then with short time he was just fending the guy off not to give up the takedown, but regardless he got an escape and scored a point for his team in the dual meet. So whether you're the best guy and you're lighting up the scoreboard, you're lighting up and getting points for your team, but even maybe the guy in your team that's struggling a little bit, or maybe you got a couple guys out and you got to get a second or third string guy in there, rather than thinking, oh man, we're not gonna score any points here at that weight, he's got an opportunity if he keeps fighting off his back, and the whole match he's got an opportunity to score points for his team. and that was exciting. So I'll never forget that. And so, you know, I've heard about that. I've proposed it whenever we get the rules survey. When we have an opportunity to have a voice each year with the NCAA. I know that that was included on the rules survey this year. I think it's a great idea. There's some kinks to work out, but I think it makes a lot of sense because looking back at that too, we had so many more wrestlers focus on continuing to score and work for the fall, because it wasn't a matter of just securing a major and then checking the time and seeing if they could keep that major, because they knew they could just keep running the score up. So it continued to encourage them to continue wrestling, continue working for the fall. How we did things in that camp was the only way you would block a young man from scoring points for his team was if you were able to pin him. So that was even more emphasis to go for the fall. We assigned 20 points for a fall in the duel, but the only way you could stop someone from scoring points in the overall team score was if you pinned them. So even there again was another thing we saw, where guys were down by 10 and they weren't thinking about just trying to, you know, save it off. They were thinking, I still got a chance to pin him. And if they pin him, not only could they win the bout for themselves, they would block the other team from scoring 10 points, and they would score 20 points for their team. So it just encouraged action and activity. It was exciting. Kids were going nuts, whether they were winning, they were losing. The whole time they were fighting their butts off, trying to just score points for their team. And I think if we could find a way to work the kinks out and include that in NCAA wrestling, it could be just the thing we're looking for to continue to grow our great sport.
You attended Plymouth State in New Hampshire. How do you end up in Wisconsin?
My college coaches, I had two really good college coaches, Chad Brackey and Dave Carlson. They were originally from Wisconsin. They wrestled for Marty Loy at Wisconsin Stevens Point. And so that was a connection that got me out to Wisconsin. Chad Brackey had actually come back here, and he brought me out. And, you know, gosh, that's going back a long time now, and I've been here ever since. And, you know, I consider Wisconsin home now, and I just love it here.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.